Plants can be split up into 4 different groups: bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. These groups are characterized by the absence or presence of true leaves and roots, vascular tissue, fruits, and flowers. Also, if the plant uses spores or seeds, and if water is needed for reproduction. The advantages of sexual reproduction are varied genetic material and the ability of the species to adapt. The disadvantages are that it is energy inefficient and time consuming. The advantages of asexual reproduction are that the individual doesn't have to find a partner, and it is energy efficient. Disadvantages are that it slows down evolution and there is little variation in genetics. Mosses are found in shady and moist areas. They find it hard to live in direct sunlight. They have no true roots, stems, or leaves, and there is no vascular tissue. Water is essential for reproduction. Bryophytes use sexual and asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction occurs in the sporophytes. The sex organs are known as the antheridium, the male organ that holds the sperm, and the archegonium, the female organ that holds a single egg. The antheridium then releases the sperm and fertilizes the egg in the archegonium. This is done through water pollination. The sperm is carried by the water to the egg. The egg then turns into an embryo, and a sporophyte is then created, and the process starts again.
Pteridophytes, or ferns, live in shady and moist areas. They contain xylem and phloem, which are known as conducting tissue, which is essential for transporting water around the plant. It also has true roots, which anchor the plant into the soil as well as absorbing water and minerals. Pteridophytes do not need water for reproduction. Ferns have spores and not seeds. During reproduction, the spores turn into a gametophyte, and this contains the archegonium and the antheridium. The sperm is transported with water to the egg. This turns into an embryo and finally into a mature gametophyte and then into a young fern. Gymnosperms' habitats vary from cold and windy to dry and very sandy conditions. They have a well-developed taproot and vascular system to get water around the plant. The leaves also have a waxy cuticle on the leaves to prevent water loss. Water is not needed for reproduction in gymnosperms. The cones are known as naked seeds as they aren't protected within a fruit. Male and female cones are found on the same tree. Pollen is released out of the male cone when it opens up. In this instance, wind is the pollinator. The female cone opens up to allow the pollen to enter. The female cone is now fertilized and the egg is formed. The cone then opens up and allows for seeds to be dispersed.
Angiosperms contain vascular tissue, true roots, and leaves. They store food in the roots, for example beetroot. Angiosperms are found in a large variety of habitats. The mesophytes that need an average amount of water, most of the angiosperms fall into this group. The next one is the hydrophytes that live in water. The last group is the xerophytes. They are succulent plants that live in very dry areas. Angiosperms use seeds, not spores, and do not need water for reproduction. Angiosperms use fruit to contain their seeds as a method of seed dispersal. They use wind, birds, and insects as a form of their pollination. Pollination by birds is one of the most common ways of pollination, and many plants are well adapted to this. A long corridor called the stigma is where the bird will put its beak in. The bird will have the pollen on it from the previous plant. The stigma is the pathway to the ovary, and this is where fertilization occurs. The zygote is then formed, and the embryo then matures into a seed or seeds and is contained in a fruit of some kind.